Welcome back, trainers. So with Groudon and Kyogre making a return, we're going to go ahead and go over counters here. So it's going to be a little bit different, seeing that super effective and resistant moves are going to be doing more damage and resisting more, depending on the Pokemon. So for Groudon here, it's going to be a pure ground type, and there are the stats as we can see. We're going to go ahead and go down to the weaknesses and see what we have going on here. Weak to grass, ice, and water. Okay, we're going to go over those types here in just a moment. Resisting electric, poison, and rock. Now, if you're trying to find yourself that 100% IV, Groudon, and this is going to be the same for Kyogre because their stats are exactly the same. At level 20, no weather boost. 100% IV is going to be 2351. Now, if you do have weather boost in sunny weather, that's going to be 2939 for both Kyogre and Groudon. For Groudon's moves, we're over here on Game Press, and if any of the staff are watching from Game Press, I became a Patreon, guys. I tried to remove the ads, but it just wouldn't work. I don't know what's happening. So I tried contributing there. For the quick moves on Groudon, it's going to be Mud Shot and Dragon Tail. Alright, and then for the charge moves, we have Solar Beam, Earthquake, and Fire Blast. So it's going to be a bit troublesome. You got to pay attention to which move it has. Now, if you're wondering, well, how do we know that? When you enter a raid, it will suggest specific Pokemon. So if it does have Solar Beam, it'll probably recommend Dragonite, Flying type Pokemon possibly, things that are going to be resisting it, as well as doing a decent amount of damage, because Solar Beam is going to be probably one of the hardest counters to go up against. Now, if it does have Earthquake, it's going to be putting in Gyarados, and possibly water type Pokemon, things of that nature. And then especially for fire type, it's going to be throwing in those water types. So really the one you need to look out for the most is going to be probably Solar Beam. Unless you're using grass type Pokemon, then you're going to have a bit of problem going in there with that Fire Blast. Alright, so here we are in Pokemon Go. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet for you guys because this is about the 6th time we've went over Groudon and Kyogre counters, but there is new players every single day. So let's go ahead and go over this. I have Mewtwo, Water, Grass, and Ice pulled up, and if you're wondering, well, why Mewtwo? Well, we're going up against Groudon, right? And it's going to be weak to Bada Bing, Ice. Alright, so luckily I have one here. I don't have very many charge TMs, so I'm not going to be TMing Pokemon to get the correct moveset. I'm kind of just going to roll with what I have. Now, you have to keep in mind the moveset that it has as well, because it's so diverse and it has amazing coverage against its weaknesses. The Groudon, right? With that Fire Blast and Solar Beam. The Earthquake is not troublesome whatsoever. Anyways, let's move along here. Now, I'm not going to be putting these in specific order. We're just going to kind of start at the top with my highest and then move on down here. And let's just brush right through this. Next up, we have Kyogre with Waterfall and Hydro Pump. This is going to be fantastic. Now, you have to look out for that Solar Beam. So you will be able to take one of those and still be able to get off that Hydro Pump maybe twice there. So keep that in mind. If it does have Fire Blast or Earthquake, then this is going to be an absolute beautiful Pokemon to use. Next up, we have Gyarados with Waterfall and Hydro Pump. Now, you're going to be safe pretty much with every set that it's going to have. But it's going to perform the best going up against the Earthquake, being a part Flying type Pokemon, and with the new resistance and super effectiveness, you're going to be able to take those Earthquakes quite well with the Gyarados and dish out a good amount of damage. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. We have Weavile. You're going to want Quick Ice move and then Avalanche for sure. If it does have Fire Blast, you're going to be getting wrecked. This is kind of a glass cannon, so you're going to be going up against a Groudon. Keep in mind, it's still going to hurt you even if it's not doing super effective damage. And then you have Exeggutor. It will be safe going up against the Earthquake and the Solar Beam, but you need to look out for that Fire Blast with Seed Bomb and Solar Beam on the Exeggutor. Next up, we have the Alolan Exeggutor. I personally have Dragon Tail. I'm just going to leave it like that. And we're going to go with the Solar Beam. Does it have anything to look out for? Not particularly. The Fire Blast is going to hurt it, but it is part Dragon, so it's not going to be super effective, just neutral damage right there. So there is another option. And like I said, I have to state this again, these are not going to be your best to worst, just going down the CP list here. And then you have Articuno with Frost Breath and Ice Beam. It's going to be another good option. You just need to look out for that Fire Blast. Otherwise, Earthquake and Solar Beam are going to be a definite go for your Articuno if you have one of those powered up. Then we have Roserade with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam. This is going to be another fantastic option. It has to look out for Fire Blast. It's going to be looking great when it goes up against that Solar Beam and or Earthquake. Then we have Torterra with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam. it's going to have to look out for that Fire Blast. Otherwise, it's going to be okay. And now Sceptile. This is going to be a fantastic option with Bullet Seed and Leaf Blade. So always like this Pokemon, so good in PvP. Once it gets its community day, it's going to reign supremo. Although it's still looking quite nice with that Leaf Blade. And then you have the old trusty Venusaur Vine Whip or Razor Leaf, and then Frenzy Plant, of course. If you do have Solar Beam ones, I suppose those work, but you're going to do so much more damage with that Vine Whip Frenzy Plant combo on this Community Day Venusaur. And just to top it off, I had the shiny at the top, looking super nice there. Alright, now let's keep moving along. You have a Vaporeon, Water Gun, and Hydro Pump. Basically, you know, water, grass, and ice. I mean, that's going to be your key here. And the Kingdras, if you're, you know, have a Water Gun one, that would work. Although most people are probably just going to have Dragon Breath or Waterfall, seeing that the Water Gun is a legacy. And then you'll just go with Hydro Pump. And then this will work too. What do you want, Seed Bomb or Counter? I mean, probably just Counter, to be honest with you. It's doing so much more damage. You'll be doing super effective to the Groudon, but it's not strong whatsoever. Counter is kind of almost evening it out. And then you're going to want Grass Knot. So just to be safe, Bullet Seed and Grass Knot once you evolved it later today. So can't wait for that one. That's going to be quite exciting. Then you have the good old Swampert. Actually needs to look out for that Solar Beam. It's going to destroy it in one shot, even if you probably dodge. All right, because it's going to be 4 times weak to that grass being a water and ground type. Water Gun and Surf. All right, that's what you're going to want to go with on the Swampert there. And then we're just going to go down to the lower tiers. And then we have the Feraligatr, which is going to be a great, it's like one of your top options, basically. Waterfall and Hydro Cannon. That's it. All right, so I don't personally have one maxed out. I'm kind of trying to save my Stardust. And thanks to the PvP, I'm trying to keep specific Pokemon in specific leagues. And that is kind of troublesome, seeing that my Electivire, I thought this one through this morning and I was like, I should have not used the Lucky Electivire to go into the Ultra League. I should have just powered up a regular one and used that Lucky to just completely max out. So kind of messed up there. And then we have Victory Bell with Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. Now we have Kyogre. We're going to kind of speed through this one because the video is starting to get lengthy. It's going to be a pure water type, and it's going to be weak to electric and grass, resisting fire, ice, steel, and water. 100% IV is going to be the same as Groudon. 2351 non-weather boosted. Weather boosted in the rain is going to be 2939. So let's go ahead and go over its moves. And here are its moves. Waterfall for the quick move, very simple. And then for the charge, we have Hydro Pump, Blizzard, and Thunder. So the most troublesome I could see here is probably going to be Blizzard. Because of those grass types that you're going to be wanting to use, that's going to be super effective towards them. So let's go ahead and go over some of those counters and make this short and sweet. Alright, so we have electric and grass pulled up here, so let's go ahead and take a look. Actually, let me put in something else really fast here. Let's go ahead and go Mewtwo, because yet again, it's going to help you out. So Psycho Cut and Thunderbolt, this isn't going to be your 100% best option, but think about it, it's not going to be taking super effective hits from anything Kyogre is putting off. And with that Psycho Cut, you should be able to charge that Thunderbolt extremely fast and put on a lot of damage to that Kyogre. So if you have one of those Mewtwo's, you're good to go. And then you have Raikou. This is going to be one of your best options because it's putting off a lot of damage. And not only that, it's not going to be taking super effective hits from anything it's putting off because it is a pure electric type. So this is going to be another fantastic option to go with. And then you have Zapdos. Now, if you do have Charge Beam, or sorry, Thunder Shock from the Raid Day, that's exactly what you're going to want for your quick move. And if you don't have that and you're thinking, oh no, mine's not great, I have Charge Beam. Don't worry about it. Charge Beam it works fine. And then for your charge move, you're going to want Thunderbolt. Now, this is exactly what I was talking about. I have this Lucky Electivire here, which is going to be great. One of your best options right beside Raikou to go up against it. Not only that, it's going to be much more available. The candies should be easier to obtain for you, obviously, with the Electabuzz and the Sinnoh Stones being somewhat rare. But, hey, nonetheless, it's a lot easier than obtaining a Raikou unless you went through all those boxes and kept getting them over and over. Anyways, this is going to be a great option here with Thunder Shock and Wild Charge. I have a secondary move that's for PvP, but the moves that you want to go up against Kyogre is going to be purely Thunder Shock and Wild Charge for the Electivire there. And then, of course, you have the Venusaur with Fine Whip, and Frenzy Plant. This thing is just amazing. It's going to be good for both Kyogre and Groudon. Not only that, it's one of my favorite shinies. And I just love the eyes. Just love them. Look at it. He's like, he appreciates that. All right. Now let's go ahead and move along here. Now, I don't have one of these powered up yet, but that is going to be the awesome looking Luxray. I have this lucky. I should really consider powering this up. Now, if I did do that, I would want it in the Ultra League, so I'd kind of just destroy that whole notion and go straight for the Master League, which is fine, but I don't know. I'd rather play in the Ultra or Great League. That's just me personally, although I don't have a problem battling people in any league. Anyways, this is going to be like one of the top ones you want to use. Luxray, fantastic Pokemon. Spark and Wild Charge is what you're going to want to go with there. Then you have Executor with Bullet Seed and Solar Beam. You just need to look out for that Blizzard, all right? Now, this really needs to look out for the Blizzard because it's going to be extremely weak, being Grass and Dragon. Both of those types are going to take super effective damage from that Blizzard. So this is an option, but you may want to hold out unless you know what the moveset is going to be prior to entering the raid, okay? And like we discussed earlier, simply look at what it's recommending to you. And then we have Sceptile coming in yet again for the counter. You're going to want Bullet Seed and then Leaf Blade on this thing here, okay? So that's also going to be a fantastic option. And then you have Roserade yet again with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam if you do have one of these powered up. I luckily do, so I'll be using it for both these raids depending upon what moveset they have, of course, because this will be getting wiped out by the Blizzard. All the grass types, so you need to keep that in mind. Of course, Torterra can work. I mean, I don't know. If it had Thunder, bingo. That's exactly what you want. Being a ground and grass type, resisting electric on both ends there. So yeah, super reduced damage, and you'll be able to stay in the fight quite some time, dealing super effective damage with that Razor Leaf and Solar Beam up against that Kyogre. And then, of course, Breloom coming in yet again with the Bullet Seed and Grass Knot. So yet again, you're going to have to evolve one of these. If you do, this is going to be a good option. It's going to fall quite quickly, but dishing out a whole lot of damage. Good old Breloom. You know how I used to talk about this thing so much. I'm so happy it's finally getting a little shine over here. And then, of course, you have Jolteon. Don't know why I named it Spark. I think that was for a video. I was trying to give a demonstration. Thundershock and Thunderbolt. Okay. Discharge, just go with Thunderbolt. If you have Discharge and you don't have Charge TMs, don't sweat it. Just use it, all right? Or anything else that you have is going to be strong. So there's another great option to go up against it. Now, this may seem weird, but I do have an Alolan Raichu, which is doing about 30 damage, all right? DPS right there. So it's not horrible. It has Spark and Wild Charge. Now, don't go and power one of these up to go up against a Kyogre. If you already have one, it should be a good option. Not to mention this one is just amazing looking, nice and lucky. Not that it makes a difference when you go into battle. Now, for the hardcore raiders, can you duo Groudon and Kyogre? Yes, you can. In fact, it's going to be easier than before thanks to that new super effective damage that has been updated. So, to going up against the Groudon, you're going to probably want Kyogres with Waterfall and Hydro Pump. That's going to be one of your good options there, as well as Gyarados, Waterfall, and Hydro Pump. And then for Alligator with Waterfall and Hydro Cannon. And you should be looking primo. Keep in mind, these are going to have to be almost maxed out. If anything, give it a shot to see how you perform. Don't go and invest a whole lot of Stardust and then you overperform. There's nothing wrong with that, but feel it up first and then make your decisions there. So that's what you're going to probably want going up against Groudon. Now to duo Kyogre, you're going to want Raikou with Thundershock and Wild Charge, and or Electivire with Thundershock and Wild Charge as well. And also Luxray will help you get the job done if you have a bunch of those. I did not pull it up, so it's not here, but that will also help you get the job done. So yes, you can definitely duo those for sure. I feel like I'm underperforming and not doing my duty to power up more Pokemon and get these duos done, guys. I don't know, but we'll get there again. It's just I'm trying to hold on to that Stardust. I have plenty of the dust and candies to do what I want, and please, I just feel like hoarding it because when PvP came out, to this day, okay, I've spent about 7.5 million Stardust for PvP. Yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. Yep. Like Wild Charge. Anyways, trainers, there you go. There are the counters. Hope I helped you out here. If I did, please leave it a like. And good luck out there catching the shiny Kyogre. And possibly, fingers crossed, for Groudon. Come on. It's obvious it's going to be a shiny. Let's go. As far as Rayquaza, who knows? It's probably not coming in. So that's why I haven't really been talking about that whatsoever. Anyways, thank you for watching, trainers. And I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.